Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. I've been inspired, if you will, to dabble back into dinosaurs, into Dinomon, Tyrannomon, whatever you want to call it, after store regionals. Well, by the time you guys are seeing this, it would have been a weekend away, like weekend before last. Is what I'm trying to say. But I got a bit inspired. There was a couple of people who were Dinomon players, who at the event, one of whom actually beat me, and I wanted to take another look at the deck and kind of see what was what, see how I could still bang, and you know what? It still bangs. It's still great. It's definitely got some great meta relevancy as well at the moment, in terms of being an anti-meta pick. It's one that could bounce back after being deleted. It's one that, Megidramon can't really do much against this deck because your Dinomon is just too big and they have to attack into you. Yeah, they might have retaliation, but you're just going to come straight back, so it's not really too much of an issue. So basically what you then have to do is just kind of tech for more stuff like the Royal Knight matchup, and I think we've done some interesting things into this list just to help it with that. So starting with the egg, of course, is still going to be the BT14 Koromon. It's the best egg we've got access to. It gives us the draw whenever we're removing a security. You could also play the EX8 Koromon as well, the one that lets you delete stuff, which, to be fair, if Floodgates are making a bit of a comeback, it could be a useful tool to have, but I found just going back down to the 4 Koromon is working fine for me. Then a couple of new inclusions, but first we'll go into the EX8 Agumon. This is our main searcher, revealing 3, adding a card with Tyrannomon in its name or the reptile or dinosaur trait, and 1 Ryutaro Williams among them to the hand, and return the rest to the bottom of the deck. Gives you 2000 DP as the inheritable. Then we've actually got the Elizamon in from the Medusamon deck. This lets you add a reptile or dragonkin as well as 1 card with the Liberator trait. So it can actually add a fair amount of stuff in this deck. Most of our main Tyrannomon line is Liberator, stuff like the Dinomon, the MasterTyrannomon. All of that is Liberator, so you can add that, no worries. Obviously, these guys are reptiles. This is a Liberator. The Ryutaro is a Liberator. So you can add that all still, which is not bad at all. And that memory gain, although obviously we're not going to be gaining as much because we don't have that additional inheritable from Dimetramon, does still work really well in this deck, just to give us a little bit of resource back whenever we're being on the offensive. So it's not a bad rookie for us at all. I saw people playing around with this Elizamon, and I was like, yo, why are we doing that? We can't search dinosaurs. But actually, we could search a surprising amount of dinosaurs. It's really good in this deck. Then our last rookie is the Solarmon. Now, you could go with the Gaussmon, because that is a Floodgate, which is a reptile, so it's still searchable, whereas this is a machine. However, the Gaussmon is not as handy, given it does Digivolution costs, not play costs. The Solarmon is in here pretty much just for the Royal Knights matchup. If we go against Royal Knights, we have a Solarmon in hand, we can slap it down, boom. Potentially you could up this up to 4 as well if you were hoping to draw into it, but we do have some generic searching tools that can grab it, so not too bad. Then going into our champions, we've got the Tyrannomon from EX8 at 4 copies. This one just has a security effect to play itself out at the end of the battle. It's also got a start of main and then when digivolving effect to give 3000 DP to itself until the end of the opponent's turn, and also gives 2000 DP as the inheritable. So this guy is a massive booster. Like, he is huge. Absolutely massive. Then we've also got the Tyrannomon X, the promo, has the raid, which you do have to be careful of. The amount of times I have screwed up raid because I have declared attack target into something and then I've ended up deleting that something. So the raid sometimes can be a bit of a bait, so just be careful with it. When attacking, if a card with Tyrannomon in its name or the X Antibody trait or X Antibodies in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Tyrannomon in its name or the dinosaur trait in the hand, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1, and then also gives us the piercing, which is pretty damn nice, especially in conjunction with Ryutaro. Then our last one, I've actually ditched the BT14 Tyrannomon. I tended to find, yes, the cost reduction was cool, yes, being able to attack after swinging for turn, was cool, but we're never really unsuspending that much. So we never could perform that second attack anyway, so I just cut it entirely, which is a shame because it is a really cool card. But the Tyrannomon, on play with Digivolving, play a Tamer card with the play cost 3 or less from your hand without paying the cost. Ryutaro is 3 or less, so obviously it's doing that straight away. And then while you have a Tamer in play, this Digimon gets 2000 DP, so not a bad card at all. Then our level 5s, I've cut out MasterTyrannomon. I did like it, but I've ultimately decided to go purely on MasterTyrannomon and MetalTyrannomon, 4 OVs of each of these. On play, you may suspend one Digimon, then if this Digimon is suspended, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8000 DP or less, so that could be quite a good kind of control tool. Gives security attack +1 and the inheritable, so helping us to rack up the checks, which is another reason we've kind of gone for this over the MameTyra. Then you've got the MetalTyrannomon. On play, when Digivolving, you may suspend one Digimon. Then if this Digimon is suspended, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and until the end of the opponent's turn, their effects can't return this Digimon to hands or decks, or affect it with de-Digivolve effects. And that really screwed me over in the match. I was playing Axel, obviously, at Store Regionals, and he had this effect live, and I was just like, I can't remove that now. Cool. I can't do it. I had a plan. That plan is gone. The plan is dead. Then going into level 6s, I got 4 of the Dinomon. Dinomon is just de facto the best card in this, and having any less than 4, I think is just a bad move. It is your best level 6 because of the, technically there's one level 6 which is better, but it's not got the same amount of synergy that Dinomon has. Has security attack +1, fortitude. On play when Digivolving, you may suspend one Digimon, then delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with the lowest DP. And then opponent's turn, while this Digimon is suspended, all of your opponent's Digimon can only attack suspended Digimon. He's 13k, potentially bigger if you've managed to time it right with your Tyrannomon effects. He is huge. Magitramon is going to have real troubles getting over this guy. Yeah, they might have retaliation, but we're just going to bounce back with a fortitude. Yeah, they might do the end of attack on deletion thing, but we're just going to get fortitude and blow them up. It's really, really good card, really interesting matchup. Then we got 1 copy of MedievalGallantmon. I had this in my original build for Tyrannomon, then I took it out when the RustTyrannomon came out. I've now put it back in purely because of the Royal Knights matchup. Because it can punish Raw Knights if you've got enough suspended stuff out. Alliance, Vortex, it reduces its play cost by 4 by suspending 2 Digimon. Obviously with the Fortitude, we could trigger the all turns effect of this, which is when Digimon is played, you may activate one of this Digimon's when Digivolving effects, and that when Digivolving effect is, you may suspend one Digimon, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8000 DP or lower. For each of other suspended Digimon, add 3000 to this DP deletions effect maximum. So great card. It is not a Liberator, so we can't search it in this with the Elizamon, but we do have Garnet Memory Boost and Offense Training, which can search this because it is obviously dual color green-red. So still, we all know how good MedievalGallantmon is, and basically you put it in any list, it makes it better. I absolutely should have put it in my XL list at Store Regionals, and I just didn't, because I was thinking more about DNA synergy rather than, because yes, you could make Valderon with it, but you can't make the BT16. Anyways, that's an issue for a different deck. Then our last level 6 is 2 copies of RustTyrannomon. The promo has collision, piercing, blocker. It's got when Digivolving, de-Digivolve 4 one of your opponent's Digimon. All turns, when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted in battle, this Digimon may unsuspend. So that is really, really cool. Obviously you can just beat stuff over. You've got the piercing already, which is great. So you don't even need the Tyrannomon X inheritable really for this one. If you do want to suspend, you've got the blocker, you've got the trashing effect from the MetalTyrannomon, security attack +1 from MasterTyrannomon, giving this massive kind of security checking potential. Really strong card, especially with the when Digivolving effect, de-Digivolve 4 one of your opponent's Digimon. It unsuspends when it deletes something in battle. Just great card. Then our Tamers. Oh no, sorry. Before our Tamers, we've got 2 copies of Omnimon X. Elizamon can search it because it is a Liberator. It's red, so our generic searchers can search it as well. We all know how good Omnimon X is. Raid, piercing, blocker, on play when Digivolving. If Omnimon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, choose one or both players' Digimon and delete all other Digimon. Then return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. And end of turn, one of your Digimon may gain Rush for the turn and attack without suspending. So it is a phenomenal card, and we can get the full effect of it sometimes with the use of the X Antibody. Then onto our Tamers. The first one is Tai from BT1. It just sets us to 3 and gives us an extra security attack +1. I figured that would be good enough for this, really. We can't really use any of the other Liberator Tamers like Owen. I mean, you could, but it's not really going to do that much for the deck. Tai works perfectly though. Then of course the main tamer we've got is Ryutaro at 4 copies. Gives you a memory if your opponent has a Digimon in play at the start of main. And then your turn effect, which couples well with the Tyrannomon X, as I said earlier. When one of your Digimon with Tyrannomon in its name attacks by suspending this tamer, that Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Tyrannomon in its name or the dinosaur trait in the hand, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. So, fantastic card. Brilliant. Then we've also got Garnet Memory Boost as our searching tool. Why Garnet? Because we've got reds, but we've got some blacks. We want to search those as well. Therefore, Garnet Memory Boost searches everything. We've also got offense training in this as well to generically search the red cards. Just bear in mind, it's not going to search MetalTyrannomon, it's not going to search RustTyrannomon. Like I said, you could up your Solarmon to 4. So I've potentially been thinking about downing the offense training, putting in additional Solarmons, maybe bumping Garnet Memory Boost up to 4, something like that. So there's definitely ways you can play around with the options. And then we've got the BT9 X Antibody as well, just in there to help us A, with the Omnimon X effect, and B, as an additional way of gaining fortitude. There are also some other ways we can play around with that though. So let's take a look at some tech cards quickly. Okay, so let's talk about some tech cards quick. So we've got the Koromon, as I mentioned earlier, just helping you delete some of the floodgates. Obviously will only work with your Digimon that have the dinosaur trait or Tyrannomon in the name, so stuff like MedievalGallantmon and Omnimon X will not make it work, but still really good. A couple of floodgate options. The Gaussmon, as I mentioned, this one's actually searchable because it is a reptile, but there's only a few matchups where the opponent, where the rejection of Digivolution costs will hurt them as much. Right now, you mainly want to be hurting play costs really, with stuff like Royal Knights. This technically can hurt Megidramon though, so that could be good. And there are obviously more generic uses like offense training and stuff like that where this comes up as well. Gotsumon could be good, stopping people by playing Digimon by effects, but bearing in mind, if this is out and you Fortitude, you can then not Fortitude, because that is an effect of playing out a Digimon, so it will not work. Then other Agumons as your options. You've got the ST7 giving you 2000 DP when you're attacking a player. You've got the Agumon from EX4 gaining you a memory if you've got a red or yellow tamer, and also giving you a draw if a red or yellow tamer would be suspended. We've got the Greymon from ST1. It's a dinosaur. We can use it. That is all okay. A lot of our effects are based around dinosaur trait, not just Tyrannomon name, so we could do this for an extra security tap +1. There's obviously the BT14-001, as I mentioned, reducing your costs, letting you attack at the end of the turn as well. There's also some stuff coming from EX9, like the new Dark Tyrannomon, which basically is looking to suspend your one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with the on deletion, and then also for each of this Digimon's face down Digivolution cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then one of your Digimon may attack your opponent's Digimon, so giving you a little bit of a attack boost. There's also the Dark Tyrannomon from EX8 as well, giving retaliation, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So if one of your opponent's Tamers, then one of their Tamers can't unsuspend at the end of the turn, so not bad. There's stuff like the Tyrannomon from EX7, suspending stuff on the board, and then it can't unsuspend. It has the same inheritable as the MetalTyrannomon as well, which is not bad. Speaking of the same inheritable, X Tyrannomon, also pretty cool, has Fortitude. And because it has Fortitude, that's another card for the Fortitude deck, I've just realised. Ooh, cooking. On play when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then by trashing this Digimon's bottom face down Digivolution card, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with the lowest DP to the hand. So that's pretty cool for some removal. There's also the MetalTyrannomon from EX9, the super rare, has Piercing, which obviously we do have in other places. And this is mainly really more for MetalTyrannomon support. Machine Dramon support, I meant. But it does some Digivolution stuff, it deletes stuff as well, so it's just got a bit more removal than the other one, but ultimately I would say the other one's probably still what you want to pick. MasterTyrannomon, as I mentioned, Collision and Blocker, helps with unsuspending, not bad. There's also, not a dinosaur, but Superior Mode, because this is a red deck, and basically any red deck can play this and do well, it's a fantastic card. And could very well be a badness contender in the future, at least as some people have said. I don't personally think that, but that's mainly because I want to make sure that it stays in Heroes, and also I think it's also quite fragile. It's a glass cannon. Then level 6s, Dino Rexmon is great, obviously a Floodgate. Got RustTyrannomon Ace potentially, as well as the other RustTyrannomon. I've not put it in this lineup, but as a level 7 you could also put in Agumon. That's not a bad one to go with. And then you could also play some generic removal tools like Crimson Blaze or like Trident Gaia, just to round up your list. But that's the deck, guys. No gameplay today just because of time constraints, because obviously I'm pre-recorded all of these whilst I'm on holiday. But yeah, that's the deck. I hope you guys liked it, and thank you for the guys who I met at Store Regionals who are playing this deck and kind of reminded me how good it is, and also showed me how good it is in the current meta. Like, holy crap, there's so many just tier 2 decks which are suddenly really good as anti-meta picks. It's fantastic to see. Anyways, like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell if you did enjoy this video so you're not missing out on any of the latest content, and we'll see you again on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.